Welcome, Walnut. I'm Lara, but you can call me Laz, your host for Walnut Wednesday. This is your reminder to be brave, be yourself, and know that you can make the world a better place just by what you decide today. Here, I'm going to share my weekly walnuttings with you on a Wednesday. Hello, Walnut. It is me, Laz, here for another episode of Walnut Wednesday. How are you? Let me know how you're going. If we haven't spoken to each other already, Happy New Year, Merry, all the things. If you're new here, my name is Laz. I'm your host of Walnut Wednesday, the podcast. And if we know each other and you're a reg OG Walnut, say hello. Get in touch and let me know how you are. This week, Walnut, I want to share a walnutting that just happened to me. And it's not necessarily a moment of being brave, but it was a noticing moment. It was a noticing of a moment for me. And we all know, and as I like to say often, Walnut, noticing is the best first step. Noticing things should be celebrated because as soon as you notice something, it instigates the power of choice. So, I want to share a moment that I noticed today as I was in the Shark Tank, and it's happened twice. So two times this week, and in two different situations with two different males. So I don't know if this is a correlation factor, but let's just put that in the observational basket for now. But twice this week, on two different occasions with two different men, have I been in a situation where I apologized and I didn't quite know why. It reminded me of a few things. So I'll tell you the situation first, right? So the first one, I was like walking or something, it's something that you don't even need to apologize for. I was walking, and then the person was like walking the other way, and I moved and I said, oh, sorry. This male from Appendix A didn't say anything, just kept walking, you know, as the sharks do when they're in their tank. And I thought, okay. And then I thought, why did I say sorry? Anyway, moved on. Then in Appendix B, the second situation was I was literally opening a door that pushed forward, and a man kind of like popped up to wanting to go into the door. I wasn't in his way. I didn't open the door on him. There was nothing aggressive going on, but I said, oh, sorry. To which the male from Appendix B responded, it's all right. Giving me the permission, accepting my apology that wasn't needed to be had. Two interesting things, right? Two interesting things, because there are two factors here, which reminded me of the conversation that Kate and I had back in episode 80 about women and taking up space, and how we just subconsciously make ourselves smaller, make ourselves a little bit weaker. And on the other end of that, how men kind of don't really have any idea of the subconscious patriarchal privilege that they are granted, where they can just without thinking say it's okay for apologizing for something that you didn't have to, or not even acknowledge someone apologizing to you in the first place. So that's the first part of the discussion. I would love to know your thoughts, Walnut. I would love to know, let me know if you say sorry for random things like that, and if you have other examples, because I'm sure I have done this before, where I've in a different context as well. And in episode 101, where I spoke with my friend Lauren about this too, we talked about saying sorry and why we say sorry and things like that. So couple of episodes for you for a bit of homework if you want some, to listen back on those discussions and further your thinking on this. But it just got me thinking on like apologizing, right? And why we apologize, and what actually defines like an authentic apology? And also, at what point on the other end of the spectrum do we become the bigger person on like a forgiveness level as well, like accepting apologies too? So yeah, my walnutting this week is the observation of my unnecessary apologies, but also it made me start to think, because at the moment I'm kind of like, without giving you all the tea, because doesn't involve just me, involves other peeps, but I'm kind of like not expecting an apology, but I am unhopefully, because I'm predicting that it won't happen, but I am unhopefully expecting an apology from somebody. And interestingly enough, it's something that I feel like maybe I did instigate a little bit, but there are behaviors that I just don't want to tolerate anymore. And it kind of got me like, everything kind of got me thinking this week. There's a quote that says like, be strong enough to forgive be strong enough to forgive without hearing an apology, or something like that. And there's all this sort of like forgiveness and apology quotes that you like see around. And yeah, at what point do you become, this is just my question to you, Walnut, asking for a friend. At what point do you be I'm doing air quotes, the bigger person and forgive somebody? Because I think it does take a lot to forgive. I realize this episode is going off on two separate tangents. One about like the man and woman thing, and now this one is going on the forgiveness tangent. But I do feel like they kind of all intertwine, because potentially my expectations that I have about behaviors that I want an apology for potentially lead to my overcompensating and apologizing. It's like, this is like really what, but apologizing like on their behalf, not intentionally thinking about them when I apologize, but like over apologizing in situations that I don't need to make an apology for, because I am anticipating, eagerly awaiting, ever hopeful, an apology from someone who's not likely to give me one. Does that make sense? Apology inception. So yeah, Walnut, that's just my musing this week, is like, I've noticed that I've been saying apologies, I've been saying sorry for random reasons that I've literally caught myself within moments after going, why the hell did I just bloody apologize when I did absolutely nothing wrong? And then on the other end of that, I've caught myself going, when the fuck are you going to apologize for the behavior that I do not accept in my vortex at all anymore? So a whole nother discussion on like, growing up, growing out of people, and having to be brave and cord cut and all the things. But it all does tie in. So I guess this episode is more posing the start of a discussion. So Walnut, I know I say this every week, but I do want to hear from you. And especially with this one, I'd love to know examples of where if you have said sorry without needing to do a thing, if you have been in a situation where you've kind of like wanted an apology, but you kind of know you're not going to get one, and what did you do about it? Because yeah, what I'm doing about it, about the waiting for an apology, is kind of just nothing at all, because just reality checking myself a little bit and being a bit of a glass it's not even glass half full or empty, it's just being a bit realistic and judging by the statistics of past events that it's not likely that it will happen. So where am I going to get the like, I think eventually I will come to it's not necessarily the forgiveness, but just striking a little note in the memory bank for how much more I will tolerate before I am finished, which is kind of just like a thing that I've done my whole life, if that makes any sense. I'm kind of waffling because all I'm thinking is on the hills when Lauren got really mad at Heidi and she was like, I'm going to forgive you, but I want to forget you. So that's why I'm like going completely off topic, because all I'm thinking is like staring at the blank page before you. I'm going to wrap it up there, Walnut, but I hope this has sparked at least a thought process for you and help you step into the realm of choice, because I, interestingly enough, one, after noticing my apologizing, and two, noticing that it was to men, I was like, oh, now that I picked this up, I'm going to see what I do with women. I did the same thing with it, where I walked past a woman, we kind of like almost bumped into each other, but had enough room, like it wasn't invasive or anything like that, could have just not said anything. And I said, oh, sorry. And she goes, oh, sorry. So it is a bullet point to mention this topic could segue into the man and woman thing, but I'm going to leave it there because there's also a little forgiveness thing. I think I'm going to dive into it a little bit more. I've come into this episode just balls deep straight into it without actually clarifying with myself what road I wanted to go down. But I'm going to call this episode a seed plant for more further discussions between us. So I do want to hear from you. I do want to hear what you think. I'm laughing at myself because I repeated myself because then I went on another tangent. But what a day in the life of the Laz Walnut. Thank you for being here. Please join my group on Facebook, The Walnut Tree, because we can further discussions. If you enjoyed this episode, share it and tag me at Walnut Wednesday. But I invite you to, share and tag, or message me on the Instagrams, message me on Messenger, or start a discussion in my group, because I think these things we all subconsciously do, and let's bring them to the conscious and talk about it more, so that we can all start living the life of a walnut and feeling more confident, feeling more powerful, feeling more sexy, feeling like a snack, feeling like we deserve our place in the world, because that's all I could ever want. So thank you for your time, and I will talk to you next week. Remember, you are a wonderful walnut, and you are beautiful, you are sexy, and you are delicious. And sometimes you don't need to say sorry when it accidentally comes out of your mouth. So keep an eye out for it. Bye.